start the meeting of the House, Senate, and State Committee. If our Webex individual could tell me about committee members who are present on Webex.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me see. We have Representative Auerkamp. We have Representative Hoye, H-O-Y-E. We have Representative Ruiz. We have, I believe, Representative Howe, H-O-W-E.
Right.
Representative Eric Smith. And I believe those are all the ones that I see on Webex. If I have missed anyone, I apologize. We have quite a number of people in the Webex meeting.
Mr. Chairman, Adam Thomas here on Webex.
Adam Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman John Resman's here also.
Give me that again.
John Resman is also.
Thank you, John. Then with those members that are on Webex, we have a quorum. If any other members come on, if you could notify us. Mr. Director of the Webex, if other members come on, let us know.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will let you know.
Thank you. First order of business is bill introductions. The chair recognizes Representative Perrell, the Chairman of Transportation.
Thank you, Chairman Barker, committee members. I have 22 Rs 3584, and this is brought to us by the Kansas Optometric Association. Has to do with the form that if you have an eye problem, when you go to get your driver's license and they disqualify you, you go to your optometrist and they fill out this form. Well, there's some problems with it, so this is going to fix that.
Thank you. Without objection, we will accept the bill and get it transferred to you.
Thank you.
We're not experts in that area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Other bill introductions, Representative Epley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, trying to be eager over here. I do have introduction of 22 Rs 3602. The title is Death with Dignity. It deals with what we've been through in the pandemic with patients that are dying alone and trying to codify a method for them to have a family member present if they are terminally ill or at the end of life.
Thank you. And that was a bill that you and I have worked together on. And Connie, if you're on Webex, reflect that Dr. Epley and myself are the sponsors of this bill. Connie? Is Connie Boehner on?
Hello, Mr. Chair. Yes, Connie Boehner is on. I will unmute her.
Okay. Connie?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Did you get those
Okay.
bill introductions?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other bill introductions? Seeing none, I will close bill introductions. Committee, we have one bill to hear today. I would have liked to have had our conferees in person, but because of the weather, that's not possible. But I understand we have a number on Webex, and we will go through each of those. With that, I'll ask the reviser to give us an overview of House Bill 2644.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. From time to time, the Kansas Legislature designates official state symbols through law. In 1903, the wild native sunflower was designated as the state flower. In 1955, the American buffalo was designated as the state animal. And now, if House Bill 2644 were to be enacted, the sandhill plum, also known as the Chickasaw plum, would be designated as the official state fruit and take its place alongside those other symbols that are so synonymous with the culture and history of the state of Kansas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Questions of the reviser? Seeing no, oh, yes, Representative Garber.
Thank you, and thank you for that great explanation. Had you ever heard of the sandhill plum till now?
I have previously, but I'm eager to learn even more in this hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of the reviser? Seeing none. I have a number of proponents listed. I want to see if they're on. Hannah Huffman, 4th grade, Sabetha Elementary. Hannah, are you on Webex?
Yes.
Then you may go forward. You have 3 minutes.
Chairman Barker, what a great honor it is to be here in the capital of our great state of Kansas. Madam Vice Chair Arnberger and everyone in this committee, thank you for this incredible opportunity of a lifetime that I will never forget. I'm Hannah Huffman, here on behalf of the 4th grade at Sabetha Elementary School. I am proponent for passing House Bill 2644 for the sandhill plum to be the official state fruit of Kansas. I would like to share a couple of reasons to support my belief. My first and favorite fact is that the sandhill plum is native to Kansas. You can see them alongside the road in every region of our state. Just like the people of Kansas, the sandhill plum is resilient, thriving in many different types of environments. My second fact is that the sandhill plum can be made into many tasty treats, including jellies, jams, pies, and many more confections. It is very versatile. The sandhill plum is also reliable, producing a harvest every year. The 3 characteristics I've shared with you are resilience, reliability, and versatility. These 3 attributes are found in the heart of every Kansan. This is why I think you should vote yes on Bill 2644. My fellow classmates and I have learned how much work and dedication it takes to deliver a proposed bill through a political process. Though we are young, you've allowed us to have a voice. It is my hope that we will not forget that even though we are young, we can make a difference. May we always strive to improve our great state.
Thank you. Committee, I'm going to kind of change procedures. I'm going to allow, as each conferee testifies, up to 2 questions of the conferee. Any questions for Hannah? Well, I have one. Hannah, does your mom or do you make jams or jellies?
No, but my grandma has before.
Okay, good. I have some in my refrigerator at home. In fact, I did not know what it was until my wife, so you brought this to my attention, and I mentioned to my wife about the sandhill plum. She said, well, you've been eating the jam that was given to us for quite a while. I said, okay. I had a friend that makes it. But any other questions for the conferee? Yes, Representative Arnberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hannah, you did a great job. Quick question, just how did you get selected to present to us today?
Well, it took a lot of work, and, well,
Okay.
yeah, that's really all I can do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hannah. And we're sorry that you couldn't come down today, but the weather is pretty bad up there, and we understand that. Next up would be Jake Minho. Jake, are you on?
Yes.
Go right ahead, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Barker and Vice Chairwoman Arnberger, for letting me talk about the bill HB 264. I am Jake Miller, and I'm appearing before you on behalf of the 4th and 5th graders at Sabetha Elementary School. I am a proponent of HB 2644 and the sandhill plum becoming a Kansas state fruit. Sabetha Elementary School is one school out of 24 other schools that think the sandhill plum should be the Kansas state fruit. Kansas is one out of 19 other states that doesn't have a state fruit, and I want to help change that. Why do I think the sandhill plum should be the Kansas state fruit? The sandhill plum is native to Kansas, especially in the western part of the state. The sandhill plum is a bush that you can find naturally in sandy prairies. The sandhill plum bush can be grown for a windbreak, wildlife habitat, and a water erosion control. You can even make wine, jam, and jelly with the sandhill plum. It has been interesting for my class to learn how a bill gets passed. If it weren't for Mr. Rotenberger, I would have never known how a bill worked or even what a bill was until I was an adult. So I want to thank Mr. Rotenberger for all he has done. Thanks for listening to me and for all you do.
Thank you. Do we have questions of the conferee? Jake? Jake, it looks like you're home today. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, enjoy your break. But we have no questions apparently. So I'm sorry. Representative Mosier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jake, have you ever gone out and picked sandhill plums?
No, I've actually not even seen one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up would be Eva Dieters, Sabetha Elementary School. Eva, are you on?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Chairman Barker, thank you for letting me speak here today. Also, thank you, Vice Chairman Arnberger. My name is Eva Dieters, and I'm a 4th grade student at Sabetha Elementary School, and I'm a proponent of the HB 2644. If you are wondering how we got here, last year's 4th grade class at Sabetha Elementary School thought Kansas needed a state fruit, so they started working on creating a bill and narrowing the fruit options down to 4. This year, we have continued the work, learning more about the 4 fruits: American persimmon, mulberry, sandhill plum, and gooseberry, to help us decide which we liked best. We then wrote a persuasive essay on which fruit we preferred. Then students from 24 schools voted on which of the 4 fruit choices they wanted to be the Kansas state fruit. The winner was sandhill plum, a wild plum to much of Kansas that is found naturally on sandy prairies where it helps to stop blowing sand. I believe that you should approve of HB 2644 because Kansas should have a state fruit, and it is important to recognize the things that set Kansas apart, such as a native fruit. This project has taken us more than a year, but it is worth the time, and here's why. It's more fun to create a bill than it is to read about one. It's also more fun to actively participate in the process to see how it works. Me and my classmates and I have enjoyed learning about creating a bill, as well as the native fruits to Kansas.
Thank you. Questions of the conferee? Seeing no questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Do we have hands from the committee on Webex?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Rep. Penn.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask the conferee, Ms. Eva, what did she not like about the gooseberry?
I found it a little too sweet for me and too sour.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer.
Mr. Chair, we also have a question from Representative Howell.
Representative Howell, please go forward.
Hi, thank you for coming to talk to us today. And I just wanted to thank you all for your testimony and tell you I learned some things I did not know. I didn't get a chance to tell Jake, but I did not know that the sandhill plum bush was used as a windbreaker. But when I was a little girl, we used to look for sandhill plum bushes so we could pick sandhill plums to make jelly with my mom and my great grandma. And we found them a lot of times on the side of the road by fields. And so I didn't realize that they probably had been planted there on purpose for that. So that explains why my family used to find them there so we could pick them and make jelly. So I learned something new from you all. And I just want to encourage you all, if you haven't gotten to taste sandhill plum jelly, you definitely need to do it. It's delicious.
Thank you. And I would mention at this point, if any of the conferees have some recipes on how to make sandhill plum, please submit those to our committee secretary, and we'll share those among our committee members. Next up would be Tanith Montgomery, 5th grade, Sabetha Elementary.
Here.
Go right ahead with your 3 minutes.
First off, I want to thank Chairman Barker for letting me speak here. Let me introduce. My name is Montgomery from Elementary School. I'm one of the proponents for the bill HB 2644, or as we call it at school, the Kansas State Fruit Bill. Today I'm here to talk to you about getting a state fruit for Kansas. Did you know that Kansas doesn't have a state fruit? Have you ever wondered why Kansas doesn't have a state fruit? Now, how come we don't have a state fruit, but other states do? Well, my school thinks that's a problem and we're going to fix it. Some people know most people didn't even know state fruits were a thing, but we do. We didn't just think of this and say, oh, that would be cool if we tried. We've done more research than you've ever dreamed of, and we're ready to make the Sandhill plum our state fruit. And if Kansans find out about this, I guarantee they will support us. We've had Doug Grimm of Grimm's Gardens from our local gardeners come and tell us information about the Sandhill plum. We've even had our own representative, Randy Garber, coming to tell us the process to get here. So we're ready to make the Sandhill plum our state fruit. That's why I think we should.
Thank you. Questions on the Webex for the conferee? None? Any questions from committee members? Seeing no questions, thank you very much. If you'll remain on, there may be questions later. Next up would be Tyson Detweiler. Tyson, are you on? 5th grade, Sabetha Elementary School.
Mr. Chair, I do not see Tyson on the WebEx.
Okay, then we will pass.
We're here. We're here.
Okay. Go ahead, Tyson.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hi, Tyson.
Hi. I would like to thank Chairman Barker for allowing me to speak here today. My name is Tyson Detweiler from Sabetha Elementary School, and I'm a proponent of the bill HB 2644. The purpose of this writing is to convince the people in this room to make the Sandhill plum a state fruit of Kansas, and to convince everybody to take this bill seriously. Kids from all over Kansas, including 23 other schools and my school at Sabetha Elementary, have voted, and the outcome of this vote was the Sandhill plum by far. This means that all these kids have high hopes to make the Sandhill plum a state fruit of Kansas, and we can't do it without the help from you people. To show you how serious we are, we had Doug Grimm from Grimm's Gardens speak about the pros and cons of native fruits in Kansas. Next, we had our state representative, Randy Garber, come talk to us and explain a lot of things about bills and how they work. As you can see, we have done our work. Now, we are going to need multiple great reasons to ensure that the Sandhill plum is the perfect choice and candidate for our state fruit. So I have gone through and scanned the internet for the best qualities of this magnificent plum. Here are my reasons. For all you moms out there, the Sandhill plum can be made into jams, jellies, and wine to congratulate you after a hard day's work. The Sandhill plum was discovered by Native Americans way back before anybody had ever heard of it in Kansas. This may not be a very well-known fact, but it proves that the Sandhill plum is native to Kansas. Have you ever heard of the Cherokee plum, the Florida sand plum, or the sand plum? Well, or the Chickasaw plum? Well, these are all other names for the Sandhill plum. Wow, this is the popular plum. In my opinion, this plum also benefits wildlife in huge ways by giving an easy to track down food source because of the strong scented bark near the roots of the bush. The foliage also provides cover for nesting sites. Now I can go on and on listing amazing facts about the Sandhill plum, but I don't want to bore any of you. In my opinion, I think the Sandhill plum is great because it is sweet, easy to grow, and leaves a great taste in your mouth. I think the Sandhill plum should be our state fruit because it is native to Kansas, good tasting, can help our precious wildlife, and it's not hard to farm either. Thank you for listening to my speech and taking our wants and Kansas's needs into consideration.
Well, thank you very much, Tyson. Questions for the conferee? Yes, Representative Mosier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Tyson, for your testimony. And I do appreciate when you said that they have a strong fragrance, because in the springtime, when I'm riding in the pastures and the Sandhill plum bushes are in bloom, there's not a more aromatic smell in the world. They're wonderful. And I have found bird nests in some of them. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. Do I have questions on WebEx? Seeing none, I will move along. Next, for conferee will be Grant Stapleton. Grant, are you on WebEx? Grant, 5th grade, Sabetha Elementary.
Hello, Mr. Chair. I noticed that Grant is on the WebEx. If Grant's parents are nearby, If they can connect if you can connect your WebEx to the meeting, we will be able to hear you, and also check to see if your mic input is set correctly.
I think we'll take just a second and see if Grant comes on. If not, I'll go to the next and then maybe come back to him. Then we'll come back to him. Next would be Tigam O'Rourke from Healy Elementary School. Are you on? O'Rourke. Do we have him on WebEx?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, may you please repeat the question?
Is O'Rourke on from Healy Elementary on?
I do not see that person, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Olivia Savala, I guess, Valley Falls Elementary. Olivia, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Then go right ahead, Olivia. Thank you.
Muted? No, okay. Thank you, President Barker, for opening Bill 2644. My name is Olivia Severia. I am from Massachusetts and just recently moved here with my family. And am evangelizing all over the U.S. I am attending Valley Falls Elementary School and was interested to learn of this project. I am excited to see Kansas have its first ever state fruit. I am here to waiting to make the sandhill plum the official Kansas state fruit. The state fruit of Kansas should be the sandhill plum because it is common and widespread state. The sandhill plum is also native to the western regions of Kansas, and according to the the Kansas Forest Service, the sandhill plum or Chickasaw plum has multiple uses such as water erosion control, windbreaks, and is home to many wildlife creatures. It is also used for many jams, jellies, and wines sold all over Kansas. According to my research, apples, apricots, and peaches are somewhat drought tolerant, which must be considered in this climate. However, the sandhill plum can tolerate drought better than most plants grown in Kansas. I think the sandhill plum would be a very suitable representation of Kansas produce. I am personally new to Kansas, but I am looking forward to see this bill pass. Perhaps we'd see more people planting the sandhill plum.
Thank you. Questions for the conferee? Olivia, any questions on WebEx? Oh, I'm sorry. Representative Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Olivia, for your testimony. Did I hear you say you hail from Massachusetts?
Yes.
And do you know what the state fruit of Massachusetts is?
The cranberry.
Very good. You are correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Didn't know there was going to be a test today, did you, Olivia? Any questions on WebEx for the conferee? Seeing none, we will move along to Harley Brown, Valley Falls Elementary. Harley, are you on WebEx? Harley Brown.
Hello, Mr. Chair. I do not see a Harley Brown on WebEx. If they can speak up, please.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. Did O'Rourke ever get on?
No, Mr. Chair. I did not see O'Rourke in the WebEx meeting room.
Okay. Grant Stapleton?
He was the one that we couldn't.
Yeah. Grant, are you on now?
I have unmuted Grant and given them direction to change their microphone input. Grant, may you please speak into the microphone?
Does not work. We'll go to the last conferee, Berkeley Hernandez from Valley Falls. Are you on?
Yes.
Go forward then with your testimony.
Hello, President Barker and members of the House, Federal, and State Affairs Committee. My name is Berkeley Hernandez, and I'm from Valley Falls Elementary School, and I'm here to tell you why the Sandhill plum should be the Kansas state fruit. Here are some reasons why you should make the Sandhill plum the Kansas state fruit. Kids all across Kansas have researched and worked hard for Kansas to have a state fruit. The Sandhill plum is obviously the best choice for Kansas because it's popular and native. Sandhill plum jam is delicious. According to the owner of Sticky Spoons in Hutchinson, Kansas, Sandhill plum is the most popular selling jelly at fairgrounds and carnivals across the state. You are probably questioning why you should make the Sandhill plum the Kansas state fruit, but the Sandhill plum is delicious and should be the Kansas state fruit. The fact that there are kids from all across Kansas here right now should already tell you that we have worked very hard for Kansas to have a state fruit. I hope I have persuaded you because Kansas needs a state fruit. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my proposal.
Thank you very much. Questions for the conferee? On Webex, any questions for the conferee? Yes.
Yes, Representative Patrick Penn has a question.
Representative Penn, ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for your testimony today, Ms. Hernandez. And this is a question for yourself or any of the other conferees, if you will. Do you all know how many states don't have a state fruit? Are there other states out there in the predicament that Kansas faces? I just wanted to know how dire is the situation. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure how many states there are, but I know there's quite a few that do have a state fruit, but Kansas is one of the ones that do not.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may follow on.
You may.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is a question, and I don't know if any of the other conferees can answer this one. Out of the other states that do have state fruits, if we, get in the sand plum here, the Sandhill plum, would ours be the best state fruit out there?
I'm
Go ahead.
I think that the Sandhill plum is the best fruit out there, and that it should be the best fruit.
Okay. Representative Clayton, do you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Chair, although my question was for Ms. Montgomery, who did not receive any questions, so whenever it's appropriate for me to ask
Then
her.
I will go to Ms. Montgomery. Are you on?
Yes.
Go ahead and ask your question.
So thank you, Ms. Montgomery, and thank you for your testimony here today. My question is this. When you all were discussing this, I saw obviously the results of the vote in Representative Garber's testimony, but were there any students at your school who were not supporters of the Sandhill plum? And was there any contention? Was there any arguments? And how did you all resolve that?
Yeah, there were. Some people wanted the gooseberry, other people wanted the American persimmons, and most people wanted the red mulberry. But when we voted between the 4th grade and 5th grade, the Sandhill plum won.
Okay.
And were you initially a supporter of the Sandhill plum, or did you end up changing your mind and joining your classmates?
I changed my mind. I was originally voting for the American persimmons, but then I tasted the Sandhill plum jelly and I wanted to do the Sandhill plum.
Having never had Sandhill plum jelly myself, but a big fan of the persimmon, I think that you and I might be more alike than we think. Thank you for your testimony today.
Thank you. Representative Arnberger. Representative Arnberger, if you'll direct your question.
I just wanted to answer the question that Representative Penn asked.
Yes.
If you look at Jake's testimony, he put Kansas is one out of 19 states that does not have a state fruit. So just wanted to
Thank you.
get that on the record.
Thank you, Madam Vice.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We have a question from Hannah Huffman on Webex. Her hand is raised.
Yeah. Go ahead with your question, Hannah Huffman.
Actually, this is her teacher, Mr. Wurtenberger, and Healy Elementary did call me and said that they are trying to get in, but they said they're just waiting for a confirmation or something. So I just wanted to relay that information.
Okay. I'll check with our Webex manager here to see if we can get that done.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, I still have all the conferees on. I do need to direct the committee to the two written proponents, one from Sabetha and one, or both from Sabetha Elementary School. You can read that at your leisure. But I've asked the reviser to give an overview of how many bills that are introduced in the Kansas legislature in a session, and how many bills actually get passed, and possibly how many get signed by the governor. So Jordan, if you would give them an overview.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan Milholland, Legislative Research. I pulled up the statistics from the 2021 session from last year. Between the House and the Senate, 769 bills were introduced. Of those bills, 15.1%, or 116 of those bills, became law. I looked back a couple bienniums ago to a more normal biennium, 2017-2018. There was around 1,300 bills introduced between both of those years. And between 10 and 15% of those bills became law each year. So it's usually around that number.
Thank you very much. I just wanted the conferees to understand on a normal year or normal 2 years, it's about 1,500 bills. Very few of those bills get a hearing, and you were able to get a hearing because of your Representative Garver and Representative Mosier. And we like to do stuff like this just because we would like for you to come to the Capitol, take the tour, work as a page when you get a little older. You may be old enough now, and to be involved in state government. I know I was glad to see that Representative Garber had been to your class to discuss this issue. He's very knowledgeable about the legislative process. And we're holding on to see if we get any other members. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a question from Representative Howe.
Representative Howe, ask your question, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the proponents that joined us here this morning to testify. Very impressed by all of your insights and testimony. My question is, if the Kansas legislature adopts this legislation and the Sandhill plum becomes the state fruit of Kansas, do you think there's going to be a push to also designate a state vegetable?
For any of the conferees, you can respond. And if so, what would it be? That would be bad. Any of the conferees wish to field this question? I see no responses to your question, Representative Howe, but thank you for coming on.
That's
All
okay,
right.
Mr. Chairman.
Will you be introducing a bill about the state vegetable?
I don't know. I might have to consult with some fourth graders in my district before doing that, sir. They seem full of wisdom, and they are clearly very intelligent to stay on topic.
Yeah, I thank you for that, and I need to compliment all the conferees. You've done a great job. In fact, your testimony was so concise and on the point. Many times we have people come in here that never are concise, or never on the point. They just ramble on, and we enjoyed your testimony. Webex?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm going to try to unmute Grant Stapleton to see if he could bear his testimony, if that is acceptable to you, Mr. Chair.
That would be acceptable. Grant Stapleton, are you on the line? Grant?
Hello, Mr. Chair. The Stapleton family is online. I have been contacting them. They said that they've made a couple of changes to their Webex, but their microphone doesn't seem to want to pick them up.
Okay. Well, Grant, we do have, we're sorry that we can't connect with you, and that's the state of technology today. It's unfortunate. I'm just going to hold on for another minute or so just to see if Representative Mosier, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do just want to say that Healy, the little town of Healy, is out by Scott City, and a group of students had made arrangements and gotten contributions to come out yesterday and spend the night last night to be here in person today, but we caught them just in the nick of time to tell them that the weather was bad and they hadn't left yet. So otherwise there would have been students from Healy, the Scott City area, here with us today. So thank you.
Well, since they have some funds, maybe they can come before the session is over and take a tour of the Capitol. And I think I was probably about that age when I got to see my first Capitol and was very impressed, because I would imagine there's nothing in Healy that would compare to the Capitol in size or decor. Are we still working with Grant?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Stapleton said that they are going to try to join the meeting by phone number, so this might be a minute or two.
That will be fine. We would, he has been involved with this class, and we can sit here and wait. While we have everyone else on the line, I'm going to ask the reviser to tell the conferees what his job is. We've all wondered about that, what they do at the legislature, so that the reviser are our legal advisors. They are all attorneys. And with that, would you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. It seems like sometimes there are people who kind of wonder where these bills are coming from, who's writing them. And of course, your elected officials, they come up here to the Capitol and they write up these bills, these laws, and they talk about them. And my job as a reviser is just to help out with some of the spelling and the wordings to make sure that what they want to get into law is written as intended. And so for my job, things that you've learned in school, your English and your writing classes, they come really in handy up here, because we want to make sure that everything's as perfectly clear as possible if it's going to become law. And so in our office, we try and help them with the writing and give them some legal advice to make sure everything is legally adequate. And we have a lot of fun, but we also deal with a lot of very serious topics. I'm very honored to be here. I'm so glad that I could hear you guys talk today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we prepared now?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have Grant online, and we also have a question from Representative Howell. I just wanted to let you know.
Let me take Grant first, and then I'll go to the representative on their question. Grant, if you would go forward with your testimony, please.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Barker, for letting us speak here today. My name is Grant Stapleton. I am 11 years old. I am in 5th grade and attend Sabetha Elementary School. I am a proponent of HB 2644. The reason why we want the sandhill plum as our state fruit is because it can house animals and need protection with its thorny body. Also, they are amazing when ripe and very sweet. They are also used in jellies and jams. Not only that, for the older folks, they are also used in wine. Sandhill plums grow 3 to 4 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet wide. So say you have a part of land that you want to cover up, plant a sandhill plum or two. I mean, why not? Fruit and a nice bush all in one. The plums grow fruit every year. That's right, every year. And they grow great and about everywhere in Kansas. The fruits grow in ditches and about everywhere else. Representative Randy Garber came and told us how to make a bill and the process one must go through to get a law passed. Not only that, Mr. Grimm from Grimm's Gardens talked to us about native fruits. Then 24 other schools helped us decide our state fruit by voting. That's a lot of other kids besides our school. We also did a lot of research so that our speeches are full of facts about the sandhill plum. More good news is that the plum houses and feeds normal birds, which is great for bird watchers. So why not choose it? The plums are affordable and cost around $5 a pound. You could also plant one so you can get plums for free. So they're amazing, right? Well, yeah, they're amazing. The sandhill plum is able to grow everywhere in Kansas. It would also probably make a nice windbreak. We want to follow the other states and get a state fruit, don't we? I mean, I don't want to be left out. My hope is that you help us pass this bill. Those are my reasons why we want the sandhill plum as our state fruit. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much. We'll go back to the question. It was Representative Howe, I think. Representative Howe, are you on? Hello? No. Okay. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Grant, I wanted to ask you, when Representative Garber came and spoke, were you surprised at how challenging it can be to get a bill passed?
Yeah, very surprised.
Okay.
And if I also want to say a thank you to Ms. Huffman for her personal letter that she sent me, and I do plan to send one back. So be looking for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Webex.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I believe Representative Stephen Howe had a question, and the Dwight Weiler family responded to the answer. It was field corn or soybean.
Okay, did you get that, Representative Howe? Soybeans or corn?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's quite all right. So I would expect a bill coming from you next year about the state vegetables.
We'll have to see, Chairman.
Yeah. All right. Is there any questions from any of the conferee of us, of the members?
Mr. Chair, if I may, to all the conferees in the Webex meeting, be sure to use the raise hand function so I can let the chair know that you do have any questions for him.
Oh, Tegan from Healy, did he ever come on? O'Rourke? Never did.
No, Mr. Chair, O'Rourke never came on. And who was the other person?
Same person.
Oh, same person. No, they never came into the Webex meeting, Mr. Chair.
Was there a question over here to my right from Representative Miller?
I had some additional information on the state vegetable.
Would you go right ahead?
It's 15 states have a state vegetable. As to the perpetual question of is the tomato a vegetable or a fruit, our friends in Arkansas could not decide because the South Arkansas vine ripe tomato is both the official state fruit and the state vegetable. And lastly, the most curious of state vegetables appears to be from our neighbors to the south because they think the watermelon is a vegetable. Oklahoma.
Well, says a lot for Oklahoma. Yes, on Webex.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The Dwight Weiler family says that that the tomato is a fruit. We have a question from Miss Montgomery, and we have a typed in question from Patrick Penn. We could go in whichever order you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Let's take his question was first.
Okay. The question from Patrick Penn is to the Dwight Weiler and Montgomery. What has been your favorite part of this experience? Will you be running for office in the future?
Well, in the 5th grade, I'm sure a lot of things will change. Now, the other question was from one of our conferees. Was that Montgomery?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Yes, go right ahead with your question of us.
Have you ever been like school to try to pass a bill?
Okay, could you repeat that? It was a little broken up.
Have you ever gotten another elementary school to try to pass a bill?
Yes, we have. We had several students come in a couple of years ago, and Representative Clayton, you recall that, do you not?
Yes, from Trailwood Elementary in my legislative district to pass the state mineral and gemstone.
Yes.
And rock.
Yeah.
Yes, we added the state fish. That was an amendment. The state fish is now the channel cat. So don't be surprised, students, if you see any amendments adding additional state symbols to this bill. So
It's, this is just the beginning of the process. It has a long ways to go. With that, my Webex manager.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a question from Hannah Huffman.
Hannah Huffman, go right ahead with your question.
Sorry, this is Mr. Wertenberger again, and I do have Healy Elementary on my phone, and he would like to speak through my phone, if that's okay.
I'll ask my Webex manager if he can get all that in.
I believe that would be fine. If they have a phone number, they can call into the meeting, or I can send them an invitation via their phone number.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, he's got. If you want to put them on speakerphone, if we can hear them, we'll be glad to hear from them.
So I have them on speakerphone right now.
Okay, who are we speaking with?
Hear you. So this is Tegan from Healy.
Keegan, all right, go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Barker and committee, for allowing me to speak to you today. My name is Tegan O'Rourke, and I am representing Healy Elementary Schools in Western Kansas. I am a proponent for making the sandhill plum our state fruit. There are a variety of reasons why the sandhill plum should be our Kansas state fruit. The sandhill plum is a native species that's been grown and eaten not only by our ancestors, but Native Americans for centuries here in Kansas. It grows wild or can be planted all over our state in many types of soil, like sand, dirt, or even heavy clay. They also make great additions to windbreaks and protection for wildlife. The shrub can live to be 15 to 25 years old. The sandhill plum is a very delicious fruit, and you can make many things with it, like jelly and pie. Since Kansas is known as the breadbasket of the world, there's nothing better on homemade bread than sandhill plum jelly. For these reasons, I think our newest state symbol should be the sandhill plum. Please help us get the bill HB 2644 passed by speaking with other representatives. Thank you for letting me speak to you today.
Thank you very much. Yes. Webex?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The answer from the Dwight Weiler family to Representative Penn, the answer is the research and writing we had to do as a class was definitely my favorite part. No, I am not planning to do so, meaning running for office, but just watching this has gotten me very interested. Also, Mr. Chair, we have two questions from Berkeley Hernandez and Olivia Savaria. Olivia has had her hand up for quite a bit.
Olivia, go forward. Ask your question.
How many bills have you shelved? Such as like state fruits.
Oh.
Well,
Such as state fruits. How many have we shown? This is the only one.
I think this is the first time we've had a state fruit up here. Yes, go right ahead, Representative Garber.
I don't know if it was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, the watermelon was introduced, but it was never worked.
Okay. Apparently there was a bill introduced a few years ago about the watermelon, but it did not get a hearing. Okay. And we have one other question.
Yes, Mr. Chair, from Berkeley Hernandez.
Berkeley Hernandez, your question, please.
So I know that the watermelon was going to be the state fruit, but had anybody ever thought of Kansas even having a state fruit before that? Or had anybody ever wondered if Kansas had a state fruit before the watermelon was introduced?
I think many people have probably wondered. However, they did not go the next step and contact their representative who would introduce a bill to that effect. So I don't know what fruits they were wondering about, but this is what we have in front of us today. And we want to thank all of you, and particularly your teachers, for getting you involved. We normally don't have hearings because we have a number of other things that are probably not more important, but we think or more important. So we send compliments to your instructors, your teachers for getting you involved in this and actually having a selection process on who would testify. We are limited on time up here. And this is the latter part of our session. We only have a couple of weeks left before we go on break. That's equivalent to spring break. And then we come back about 3 weeks later and work what we call the veto session, where we're here for about 10 days or so. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all the conferees. I want to thank the committee members who Webexed in. Committee, we will be meeting. Our agenda is Monday, correct? But we Tuesday, I will need to let you know, I have set, I don't have the number in front of it, but you'll know the title. It's the Sanctuary City Bill on Tuesday for hearing. We have hearings on Monday. I anticipate working bills on Wednesday and Thursday. With that, anything for the, yes, Webex.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a question from Representative Howell.
Yeah, Representative Howell, are you on the line?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to volunteer that if any of our conferees and their families or classmates do come to visit us this session, I would be happy to take them up to the Dome if they would like to go.
You're a brave soul. It's been several years since I've been to the Dome, and it's a long walk up the steps. But thank you for that volunteering for that.
2 bills on Monday.
We have 2 bills on Monday. We're working. They're in the agenda. There'll be a revised agenda that comes out today. Yes, we'll go back on Webex. Question.
Mr. Chair, if it's appropriate, if I could make a personal comment to all the Webex conferees.
You surely can.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being so concise. Your audio was fantastic. And I can say for all the representatives here and everyone working in this committee room, I can say personally as well that this has been one of my favorite meetings, and I will definitely remember this for many years to come. Thank you for coming here and bringing forth this bill, and I am definitely going to try some Sandhill plum jelly and all sorts of products that come from this fruit.
Well, thank you very much. With that, anything else? Representative Arnberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to state for the committee that you can get the Sandhill plum jelly downstairs in the gift shop. So you guys should all try it. It's downstairs.
But if anybody has good recipes on making jams or jellies, please submit it to Connie and we'll get it out to all the committee members. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.